Hi, today's topic is the devil's counterfeit to God's authentic. In many things that God has created, the devil has managed to counterfeit them and actually trick and fool man into believing these things. And so I'm going to go through some of these and explain at least one of them thoroughly. So God created his law, and the devil counterfeited God's law with a legal system. And if you want to know more about this, please see my YouTube video on lawful versus legal. Another thing that God created that the devil counterfeited is God created man in his own image, and the devil created persons, or person. And to get a better understanding and explanation of this, please see my video, Man versus Person. God is the creator in the beginning of wisdom, and the devil has created a counterfeit to wisdom called education. And man has been fooled by this, and they think that somebody who is educated is wise. God established our form of government as a republic, and the devil very cleverly has counterfeited it as a democracy. And once again, man has fallen for this trick. Let's see, what else? Here's one that I haven't done a video on. Oh, and as far as that goes, I do have a video on man versus person. So please watch that video, and that will explain that farther. God has created his church, and the devil has successfully counterfeited God's church. So the church is a noun, and a noun, the definition of a noun is a person, place, or thing. So God's church is not a place. The devil's church is a place. God's church is a thing. God's church exists in this world regardless if there was a single building built or not, or a 501c3 filed for with the IRS. Whereas the devil's church is a place. So God's church, a thing, has been counterfeited as a place. So the devil calls the church a place. It's a building where you go, usually on Sundays. So this building is what man has been tricked and fooled into believing is God's church. And it's possible to have never stepped foot in a church building and still be part of God's church. Likewise, it's possible to have gone to a church service every Sunday all of your life and have never been part of God's church at all. So you can go to a church building and you can congregate with like-minded believers and not be part of God's assembly. Or you could be part of God's assembly and have never stepped foot in a church building or congregated with like-minded believers in some type of church building. So it's important to understand the differences of these. It's really important to understand that the devil is more clever than you, and he's smarter than you, and he's been around for 6,000 years learning, practicing how to deceive you, and he's done a very good job of it. And you need to wake up and understand that you've been fooled all these years by the devil. And he's tricked you, and God wants you to understand that he sent his son, Jesus Christ, to free you from this bondage that you're in. So you don't have to be a slave to the devil's legal system, to the devil's church, to the devil's personhood, to the devil's education system. You no longer have to be a slave. You can be free from these things. Stay tuned for my video that's going to be coming up. It's going to be preachers of guilt versus preachers of condemnation. I want to expose the difference between the devil's counterfeit preachers of guilt. So God has men of God, and they preach conviction, and they bring conviction on you. The devil has his counterfeit, and they preach guilt. And unless you understand this, you're going to be tricked by it, and you're going to be fooled by it. So stay tuned for that video, and God bless.